Alright, so me and Connor are tag teaming this amazing horizontal launch problem.
Okay, so to start here, we have Ravant pushing me off of a 3-meter ladder with a velocity of 103 meters per second. So obviously that's going to be pretty painful when I land. To start out, what we're trying to solve for this problem is we're going to try to find the distance from the base of the ladder that I end up landing, or in this case, x. So to start out, we need to look at the vertical components. So we'll use the equation of x final equals x initial plus initial velocity times time plus 1/2 acceleration times time squared, right there. So we start plugging in numbers. So when I hit the ground, the height off the ground will be 0, so we'll plug in 0 for x final, and then we'll plug in 3 since that's the height of the top of the ladder where I started as x initial. Then with a velocity of 0 and free fall, there'll be 0 initial velocity because I'll be at rest when I start. So we'll plug 0 in for that, so it'll be 0t, and then we will plug in the gravity of negative 9.81 for that. And now I'll let Ravant take over.
Alright, so that for the x component, we're going to use the same formula as we did for the y component, except now we don't have an acceleration because we only have an acceleration in the y component, which is the effective gravity on Connor. But here we do have an initial velocity of 103 meters, which is what I pushed Connor with, and we're trying to find the distance that he traveled. And we know that he started out at 0, so we basically just do 103 times 0.78.
Which was the time, which was calculated from the y velocity.
And you get 80.34 meters.
So I have a question. Why do you start off using the y components first instead of the x? Because you're wanting to solve for the x, so why not start with the x?
Honestly, you can do it either way. However, it's easier to start with the y because it'll give you the time right away. So you can just go ahead and plug it into the x equation instead of doing all that work on the x equation and then realizing that you had to find the time from the y equation. So it's just a big time saver.
Con los terroristas.
The Harlem Shake.
El